If you are a teacher or you work in education, most likely right now you have hit your absolute limit.
The reason why they're quitting is because these kids are mean and they're making the classroom a war zone, and they're getting zero support from parents at home and from admin on their campus.
Teaching is a rewarding profession, but it can also be incredibly demanding. Many educators face burnout, a state of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion that can severely impact their well-being and their effectiveness in the classroom. Understanding the causes of teacher burnout and implementing strategies to prevent it is essential for maintaining a healthy and productive teaching environment.
Do you honestly believe that these teachers are quitting their job 2 weeks into the school year because they're not getting paid enough, or because the politics that they're dealing with from outside of the classroom is too much to handle? No, that's not the reason. The reason why they're quitting is because these kids are mean and they're making the classroom a war zone, and they're getting zero support from parents at home and from admin on their campus. This 100% stems from the stuff that they have to deal with day in and day out from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. inside their classroom. It's the stuff that you have to deal with inside your classroom that makes you burn out and makes you never want to come back. I understand that so many of our kids are dealing with rough lives at home and are dealing with trauma, dealing with mental illness, dealing with learning disabilities. All of those things make it difficult to thrive in school, and I understand that. But the problem is that all of those things are no reason to treat other human beings like a piece of garbage. Regardless of your opinion of teachers, most teachers that I know wake up every single day excited to teach whatever lesson that they've spent hours planning and creating, and they want to have a meaningful experience with the students in their classroom. They want to have a good day. And I know, speaking for myself, I woke up every day praying that it was going to be a good day, praying that the kids that I had that day were going to be as excited about the content that I was ready to present as much as I was. And most days, that is not what I got met with. On the daily, teachers are getting cussed out, spit on, hit, flipped off. Their equipment is getting broken and stolen. There are bullies in class that are relentless, not just to their own fellow students, but to the adult in the room. Imagine if you had to deal with that at your job. I'm speaking to non-teachers right now, right? You would not put up with that. You would stay somewhere where you were treated with respect and you knew that you were safe in your work environment. If someone came every single day to your job, bullied you, hit you, cussed you out, rolled their eyes at you, treated you like you were nothing, like you were garbage, you wouldn't want to come back either. You would put in your 2 weeks notice. But for some reason, so many people believe that we signed up for that. Because that's a part of teaching, and that's just how kids are. I made the decision not to return to the classroom this year, and I haven't been in a classroom for months now, and I still have nightmares, trauma nightmares on a weekly basis about my former classroom and my former students. And yes, it is a parent and an admin problem just as much as it is a kid problem. Because the difference between now and 20 years ago even is that 20 years ago, when you would have a kid cuss you out, hit you, smack other kids, ruin your property, steal things off of your desk, there was going to be somebody on campus that was going to back you up and find a solution. But now that's not the case. Suspensions are down because they want those numbers down. They want to look good. They're not suspending kids for getting in fights and being violent in the classroom anymore. It's just not happening. Even in the early 2000s and 2010s, when I started my career, I was assured that if I called a parent to tell them about what was going on in my classroom with their child, they were most definitely going to say, "I am so sorry, do what you need to do. I'll talk to them when they get home." Right? That doesn't happen anymore either. It is a parent problem because we're getting met with the same attitudes that we see in the classroom that we're seeing at home from parents. Your doctor or nurse, somebody comes up to your nurse's station and starts yelling and screaming, throwing things, cussing you out, calling you names. What do? You get to call security and call a code violet. As teachers, we can't do that anymore. We try, but then the kid gets sent out of the class. They are given a snack, and then 5 minutes later, they're back in the classroom ready to terrorize somebody else. There's always going to be only one adult in the room and 30 kids. And as soon as we put our attention on the one kid who's causing the disturbance and the violence in the class, then everyone is going to turn to us and say, well, why aren't you looking after the other kids? Why aren't you doing your job in teaching these kids? What happens when somebody else starts doing something they're not supposed to do? It's a lose-lose situation. So who wants to deal with that at work? Of course, these young teachers who are just now stepping into the profession are done with it after 2 or 3 weeks. They realize that they don't have to deal with that behavior. They don't have to deal with that disrespect. And there's another way that they can make their money.
Emotional labor. The emotional investment in student success can be draining, especially when dealing with challenging behaviors or personal issues.
We were talking about teacher burnout and how teachers are so exhausted and how teachers are leaving left and right and just quitting teaching. And we came to the conclusion that teachers are behavior teachers. Every teacher is a behavior teacher. And you are dealing with behaviors all day long. And it is truly exhausting. Like, even when you are able to finally teach a lesson in front of your class, what happens 57 times during that lesson? You're interrupted, you have to make phone calls for support because of behaviors in your classroom, or you're making phone calls home, or you're pulling students aside to have one-on-one conversations with them to try and get them back on track. And you're doing that day in and day out, all day long, and that is so exhausting. The other thing about behavior is a lot of teachers don't have the trainings and backgrounds surrounding behavior. Where I went to college, I don't even think I had one course revolving around behavior management. You were just kind of thrown into your practicums and student teaching and expected to figure it out. And even in your first job, you might have a few like professional developments over behavior, but you don't have any actual behavior training. Teaching has also changed. Like, the behavior that I saw just 4 years ago when I first started to compare to now is drastically different.
Lack of support, insufficient resources, inadequate administrative support, and limited professional development can leave teachers feeling isolated.
And I can understand why teachers are burning out. The societal norms for teaching have changed. Do you know how many people tell me, oh, you're just becoming a teacher? Yeah, thanks. And how much of an impact has a teacher had on your life? I have taught in low SES schools where kids go home to broken family, adopted parents, don't shower, don't have clean school clothes. I'm the one person in their life that's consistently there for 6 hours a day on their team. I think we need to shift, and I think people in society need to start role modeling the respect that is needed for teachers, because they're educating the future that will probably look after your kids, or someone who will probably fix your broken arm if you break it, or if you want legal advice, you'll go and see them. So I think it's time to start, and that's free. That's free. That's just called being kind and respectful. And we're professionals at the end of the day, and that's what we need. That's free.
Standardized testing pressures. The emphasis on test scores can create stress and limit teachers' creativity and autonomy in the classroom.
Here are the top 5 reasons why teachers are so tired. Reason number 1 is because teachers have many different things to do. A teacher's to-do list every day can be 10, 20, 30 items long, and it's literally never finished. I've been a teacher in some capacity for 8.5 years, and I have literally never left with my to-do list completely done. Reason number 2 is that there are many different types of things to do. Teachers are expected to do creative work, logistical work, and analytical work every single day, which results in a lot of cognitive overload, which is exhausting. In addition to that, teachers also have what this commenter talks about, which is emotional labor. Sometimes students share things with us, and it's impossible to leave that type of work at school. You're thinking about your students even when you're off the clock. Reason number 4 is that teachers serve a variety of different stakeholders. We serve students, parents, administrators, the board, the community, and each of those stakeholders have different needs and expect different things. And reason number 5 is that teachers are expected to do all of that without the necessary supplies, time, or support.
Strategies for preventing teacher burnout. Prioritize self-care. Encouraging teachers to prioritize their physical and mental health is crucial. Simple practices can make a significant difference. Regular exercise. Physical activity can reduce stress and boost mood. Mindfulness and relaxation techniques. Incorporating meditation or yoga can help manage stress levels. Adequate sleep. Prioritizing rest can improve overall well-being and energy levels. Create a supportive environment. Building a positive school culture can foster collaboration and support among staff. For example, mentorship programs. Pairing new teachers with experienced mentors can provide guidance and reassurance. Regular check-ins. Administrators should schedule regular meetings to discuss concerns and offer support. Team building activities. Encouraging social interactions among staff can enhance relationships and reduce feelings of isolation.
Things I do as a third-year teacher to not get burnt out. Number one, I won't say that I never work out of my contracted hours, but I almost never stay after school. If I feel like I need to do something before school, or I need to do something outside of my hours, I will do it before school so that the minute the clock strikes, whatever time I'm allowed to leave, I am out the door. Very rarely will I be here to do work outside of my contracted hours. And to me, it is something that you have to learn to not care about. And to me, if I work my butt off every second of my contracted hours, and if I cannot get it done in that allotted time, that is not my problem. That is an education system problem. That is a district problem. That is not my issue, and I don't want to bug me. Number two, this is a really big one, and I made my room. Obviously, I set it up for the kids, but I put a lot of touches in here for me. I really made sure that I enjoyed my teacher workspace and my desk area this year, because last year I didn't, and I felt like I had nowhere in the room for myself to relax and feel like homey. And I'm in here more than I'm at home, basically. So I need the room to be pleasing to me as well. It obviously needs to be like appropriate for the students, but throw your own touches in there and make this place feel good to be in. This is a big one. I think it's different for me because I have two aides in my room. So if I need to complain about something at work, I have someone right here to complain about it too. So when I get home, I mean, if anybody wants to ask my cousin, I almost rarely go home and complain about work. Even if I had a really bad day, I really don't mention it because I've already complained about it at work, and I don't want to bring it home. And like sometimes my mom is also a teacher, and I will start to go at it, and I will literally be like, you know what, we got to stop talking about work. I don't want to hear it anymore. Not in like a rude way, but it starts to like, boil you up of all the issues that you're dealing with. So I do not complain about work. I try not to outside of work. Complain all you want during the day. As soon as I go home, it's done.
Professional development opportunities. Ongoing training and professional growth can reinvigorate teachers and enhance their skills. Workshops and conferences. Attending professional development events can provide fresh perspectives and strategies. Collaborative learning communities. Forming groups to share resources and ideas can foster a sense of community and collaboration. Teacher burnout is a pressing issue that can affect not only educators, but also the students they serve. By prioritizing self-care, creating supportive environments, setting boundaries, and fostering professional growth, schools can prevent burnout and ensure that teachers remain passionate and effective in their roles. Investing in the well-being of educators ultimately leads to a healthier school community and a better learning environment for students.